For middle schoolers, entering the bathroom is like going to Las Vegas for adults. There is a 50% chance that the bathroom will be filled with sweet-smelling smoke. In 1973, Brownsville Station's hit song, Smoking in the Boys' Room, let everyone know that smoking in the boys' room is not allowed in school. Yet nearly 50 years later, and smoking in the boys' room is once again seen as cool. Welcome to the world of e-cigarettes, also known as vape or Juul. In the past 30 days, more than 5 million middle school students have vaped, and more than 1.6 million vape more than 20 times per month. Most of the time, this occurs in student bathrooms, the only part of the middle school which does not have surveillance cameras. As the popularity of vaping in middle school stores, have electronic cigarettes became a new gateway drug? So what happens to the chemical vapor that enters the body? These chemicals first enter the lining of the nose and esophagus, which immediately become irritated. The bacterium in the mouth then begins to die, and the heat of the vapor releases other chemicals, which stains the teeth. As the nicotine enters the bloodstream, it causes blood pressure to rise, which gives the user a euphoric sensation. Within 48 hours, the lungs will attempt to drain the mucus created by the vape, but many of the chemicals will remain in the lungs. Over time, the lungs will become so damaged that oxygen intake will be limited. The lack of oxygen generally leads to respiratory and circulatory illnesses such as COPD, lung cancer, and heart disease. So if vaping is bad for you, why do nearly 1 million middle schoolers vape daily? One middle school student who wishes not to be identified told me that he knows at least 13 students who vape on the bathroom daily. I asked him why he thinks students vape.
I believe students vape because it helps some students get around anxiety. Some students, it may make them feel cool, and others may be influenced by friends and become addicted. From what I heard, vaping does release stress in your body, and it makes you have less worries about school and problems at home.
His answer is correct. Vape chemicals are designed to be addictive. The manufacturers add chemicals to cause people to want to do it again and again and again. The main chemical added is nicotine. Nicotine releases a chemical into the brain called dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical that makes a person feel really good. Once that chemical reaction goes away, the person craves more of it. In fact, they feel so bad without it that very few users will be able to quit. This is why vaping has become a $20 billion industry. Manufacturers spend approximately $1 million per minute on advertising and marketing. It has been incredibly difficult for the federal government to address the impacts of vaping. The industry spends approximately $35 million a year on lobbyists and more than $70 million a year in campaign contributions. Since there is so much money behind this enterprise, there is a little desire to alter the impact of e-cigarettes. Education seems to be the most important way of getting people to stop vaping. The federal government spends nearly $541 million a year on anti-smoking education. Unfortunately, however, the amount spent has decreased annually since 2002. This decrease has caused a number of users to level off, especially as it relates to teenagers. In 1997, 16.7% of all teenagers smoked. As a result of the education, this number dropped to 9.7% in 2003. The most effective anti-tobacco education has been found in elementary schools. Those elementary school students have exposed to anti-smoking educations are 95% less likely to smoke as teenagers. So does this middle schooler think vaping is the newest gateway drug?
I think so, because I think most people who vape feel pleasure from the nicotine, and they eventually need something stronger, and they move on to drugs like marijuana or harder lucid drugs.
Our middle school student is correct again. 40% of all middle schoolers who vape will try other controlled substances, compared to the only 8% who never vape. In fact, teens who vape are 2.5 times more likely to become heavy users of other drugs. Although smoking in the boys' room is not allowed in school, this message seems to be lost in middle school, where vaping has become the new gateway drug of choice. While the reasons why middle school students vape may vary, the number is quickly rising. and it has become clear that schools are not doing enough to educate its students about the harmful effects of vaping. While schools may attempt to ignore the problem or make examples out of a few students without a plan to bring the topic of vaping into the classroom, students will continue to vape. Our elected leaders should devote more money towards vaping education, and they should mandate that dangers of vaping must be taught in middle school. In addition, parents need to be more open with their children about vaping and cannot pretend that problem does not exist. Finally, our schools need to place people in the bathrooms to stand by the 1973 message that smoking in the boys' room is not allowed in school.